Hlogi Makau has been actively involved in the real estate industry since 2018. Driven by a deep passion for sales, investments, networking, and helping people, he found his calling in property. At Kalprivi Properties, Hlogi specializes in residential sales, rentals, property management, and commercial real estate. His academic background includes a BCom accounting, entrepreneurship, and coaching, as well as master practitioner in real estate, equipping him with a strong foundation to lead and succeed. Known for his drive, team spirit, and leadership, Hlogi is committed to making a meaningful impact in Gauteng and other strategic regions. Together with a dedicated Kalprivi team, he focuses on delivering exceptional service, ensuring every transaction is seamless and stress-free. His professionalism and positivity and solution-oriented mindset set him apart in the industry. Hello and welcome back to The Threshold, the space between who you were, who you are, and who you're becoming. Here we're talking personal development, career development, and everything that has to do with you becoming that version of yourself that you want to become. Today we've got Hlogi, who's going to tell us how he's killing it in the property space. Hlogi, how are you?
Fine, thanks to you, my brother.
I'm good. I got a very good bio there. It was a good one. It was quite long, but I want to ask you again, Hlogi, what do you do?
Well, Hlogi Makau is a master property practitioner in real estate.
All right.
Specializing in residential sales, leasing of homes, office commercials, property management, and the new baby that just came in, auction.
Nice.
That has just become our division. So, in a nutshell, we are a real estate activity company that helps the buyers and the sellers meet together.
Powerful. I really like the fact that you have actually laid down a foundation in terms of our discussion, because at the moment, just as you put it down, I've got so many questions. Let's talk about what got you into property.
Well, it actually started a long time ago. I think my background was always in entrepreneurship. My father was an entrepreneur and who actually groomed me by driving around with me around the neighborhood, because we're from the township. And when you're in the township, he had this ambition of wanting to stay in the suburbs. So during the weekends after church, he would always say, let's drive, let's go to Midrand, Centurion, and look at the houses. So I think that translation and that experience of seeing those beautiful houses really touched me, because I would say, wow, that house is beautiful. Wow, look at that garden. So the love for property started then in just driving around.
So I've known a lot of people in the car space, right? They love cars. They also drive big, beautiful cars. Do you also have a big, beautiful house?
Well, I do. I live in a very beautiful home, and it's quite spacious. So I think you can't be in something and not actually enjoy it privately. So I would say yes, I do.
Nice. I think I'm really happy to hear where that passion started, and it's quite deep to hear that it started with your father. I think going forward, here's another question that I've got, is to say, you've got a property specialist who is doing it the old way. You've got a property specialist who is Hlogi, who's doing it the new way. What is the new way?
I think every business has a personality, and there are businesses that we found in the markets. I think international businesses like your Harcourts, your Remax, and your Pep Golden. But as Africans, we needed to bring a personality of Ubuntu within the business. Remember, the whole point of property sales, it's not about selling a house. It's about helping a couple find their first home. It's about helping an elderly downscale. It's about also helping that business person to find a commercial space. So we come in with a service attitude within the environment to make it a point that Botubarona grows into it, hence the colors of black and gold. Because, it's black excellence with the golden touch. And that's what we want to do. So how you want to stand out is that believe in the markets. We started in the township of Tembisa. We're moving in and other townships slowly. Your Davidton, we want to move into your Soweto. But obviously, we still have a touch of suburban service where we move in. But our target market is actually making it a point that we bring Ubuntu into our service.
Because you would not normally see many property companies targeting the townships and making use of that economy. And coming to thought now, as I think about it, there's quite a number of people that have identified the township economy and they're capitalizing on it. What strategies have you employed to become acceptable? Because property, people in the township space, that's a new thing. Our grandmothers and grandfathers and, young guys, how have you, found the space in that area working with those people?
One thing that you need to understand is that the township market is quite different, and the township economy is quite growing. Okay. Even though real estate has not grown to a point whereby it's acceptable. Okay. Remember, in the township, these are the homes that have historical connections to the family members. But obviously, you need to be able to understand the market that you're operating in. Okay. And the first one is visibility. Visibility is important. Okay. That people must be able to drive and see you on the walls. And the second one is being in touch with the community. Yeah. Hang around them. Yeah. Their social events, their soul music events, be seen in their car washes, have engagement. Connect with ordinary people in their own spaces. The third element, obviously, is making it the point that you are professional. The problem with the township environment is lack of professionalism. Okay. Because there are a lot of fly-by-night agents who are not professional, who are not registered with the PPRA, who come to exploit the seller when they are making a sale. So bring honesty into the transaction. It's not about money. I mean, remember, property is not something that is like a Coke in a burger where you transact so quickly. It's something that changes life. Yeah. So when you help one family, word is going to go around that, I found an agent who cared not only about assisting me with the market value, but who cared about moving me from point A to point B. Yeah. So the type of team, you don't have to be a profit-minded person only, but you also have to be a passionate person to make it a point that you make them feel safe with the way they worked on it and educate them further to say, do you know that when you leave this house, you're not going to be staying in this house. It's not going to be You understand? You're going to move and now a new family is coming in. Yeah. So make it easier for them to connect to.
Yeah, man, because driving around the townships, you'd see houses written, not for sale.
Yeah, not for sale.
That's such a common culture. Yes. And, being the person you are, you have to be very courageous to be able to come into that space and sort of bring peace there. For me, you're a peace bringer because of the diverse challenges that people are going through with these properties. One portion of this family want to sell, the other saying, no, there's no way, we're not going to sell this house.
Yeah, but you know what? Coming to that point, there's no such a thing as a family property. Yeah, ne? It is a family property because we grew up in it. Okay. But every item that is an asset has an owner. You understand? Yeah. But because of the historical apartheid era, where people were given houses, right, the forums were not meant to be sold. Okay. They were almost like the RDPs of the 1960s, 1950s, when Tembisa was formed, Soweto was formed, Soshanguve was formed. So when people grow up into the family, they start thinking, hey, this is where I grew up. Yeah. This is a family house. Yeah. But they forget that the house has a title deed name that says Ugoko Nomkhulu stayed here. Yeah. And in case of the law of interstate succession, the property can be sold. So now, this is where the education comes in, where you need to tell family members that as long as it has a title name and a title holder, and families agree that it can be sold. But if families don't agree, then it cannot be sold. It can't be sold. That's why you find this constant wrestling, constant fights, because the uncles still feel I grew up there. The nephews feel I'm entitled. The aunties feel good. You know what? I still have to hear it. But because it has a title and name, you can still apply the interstate succession of selling off that house. Yes.
Okay, that's powerful. Now, what happens in a case where there's a dad who's got two children, and once he moves off without putting his estate in order, what happens then to that house? Because I'm sure both of them would be like, you know what, I also got a share to the house that's there. If he doesn't have a will, or maybe in a situation, maybe let's open it up and say, in this one scenario, he's got a will, he included one and left the other. In this other scenario, he didn't include both of them. How does that work?
Okay, so we have a great constitution and we have a good law system in our country that protects the rights of any members in the family.
Okay.
So let's bring about that. You've got a dad and he's got 2 sons. He never left a will for them. Both kids have an equal share in the property.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we go back to what I said, the interstate succession, where now if the father passes on, the kids, before they can sell, one of them has to be an executor, or they can be co-executors in the estate.
Okay.
And it is said, if the other party doesn't agree, the house cannot be sold.
Okay.
So both of them, they can actually have to be in agreement.
Yeah.
And the word executor doesn't mean 100% ownership of managing the whole estate. You are executing the estate on behalf of all the other beneficiaries. So they still have to consent to your decision to say, yes, we agree that this house must be sold. You find that a lot of houses have aunties who are executors. They have uncles who are executors. By means of being an executor doesn't mean you have 100% control. It means you still have to get a consent in the section. It's called section 42(2), where now each and every member of the family must still agree. So in a nutshell, those 2 guys, one could be the executor, but if the other party doesn't agree, the house won't be sold.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that's why this house is not for sale.
Yeah, a lot of houses, you see it constantly driving in Soweto, you'll see a big not for.
Yeah, in short, there's no agreement.
Yeah, we don't
There's
agree.
no agreement.
Yeah.
And when it says that, you need to go in there, educate them. So the first thing is knock on that door and say, hey, I see this house is not for sale. What are the politics? But so both sides must tell you. To say, listen, I grew up here, we are in agreement, we are not in agreement, until they're all in agreement. There's an affidavit that they will sign in, an executor needs to act on behalf of them, and whatever share, if the house is 600,000, and there's 6 siblings, all 6 siblings must agree. That means 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000 each. If one doesn't agree, that house cannot be sold. That's why.
What happens now? Because I've heard that there are cases where the dad has not disclosed all the siblings. Like there are others that have not.
Oh my goodness. That happens all the time. I mean, the Lord says, it's like a tree. In a tree bears fruit. It doesn't mean because there's a fruit that comes from a forbidden tree. It's not part of the estate. Even an illegitimate child has an equal share in the estate. Remember, the law is meant to protect the beneficiaries, irrespective they were born in matrimony or they were born out of matrimony. So those kids, if you had 3 kids and you had left 100,000, you cannot say, because I'm married, my 2 kids in matrimony are going to get 50,000. No, it's going to be 33,003 because it's divided by 3 kids. So that child also has a claim because that is their legitimate father.
Shucks. So now are you guys going to intentionally go out and find these children? How does it work?
So what happens is that an agent, first steps, let me take you through the step. The agents like us, people will tell us, hi, Hlogi, I want to sell my house. So when we come, we actually pull out what we call a Lightstone report or a Loom report, which will tell us who is the owner of the property. So in that case, it will say Zakes Kuman. So we'll carry out Zakes Kuman. Then we take that report, we send it to the attorneys. The attorneys will then access the information to find out who is the executor. Did Zakes Kuman leave an executor or one of the family members to execute this estate or not? In the event where there's an executorship has a case number. Do you know that just that case, if you look into the executor, there's a case number. That is there. It tells the story. Who are the kids? Who are the illegitimate kids? Because that executor will have to be honest in complying that report. So we take that report and then the attorney will be the one that will deal with the estate and the liquidation and distribution account of saying, yes, this property can be sold, but they all have to be first in agreement. You understand? So when they agree, it's easier because now they decide that as Hlalila, we all have grown, we have families, you understand? Then they will agree. Then the attorney will bring it to us and say, all is cleared. These people are in agreement. You can carry on with the sales. Whereas most of the time, people bring properties and say, I want to sell it, but I don't want my brother to know. You can't. Because you can do that. I can lose my license 5 or 6 years to say, how did you sell that property without following the property assistance through attorneys in executing that estate?
We had an episode on one of our other shows where there were two gentlemen who were not agreeing, right? And it became a thing. They both individually came, not together. To talk about the conflicts and challenges. But thank you so much for, raising our level of awareness to say that it's not only a certain number of people that must get, a share. Well, going forward, let's talk about the property business and also educate someone else out there. How difficult is it to break into the property management space?
It's quite difficult, my brother, because you need to understand that property business was never a black business thing. Okay. We as black have now been in business for years to understand the real estate industry. Okay. It is still governed by predominantly white companies who have a greater understanding of assets and transactions. Okay. You look into the townships, we don't have sectional titles. We only have a lot of freeholds. So we've never used the real estate business to actually enrich ourselves. Okay. We have been using property space to be homes instead of treating them like assets. So as an emerging black firm that is entering here, what we've done is that we've become humbled. I work with a company called Hazemark Homely to understudy myself as a business. To mentor yourself. Because if you look, there's no black real estate national franchise. Okay. You understand? Yeah, that's true. So the vision of Capriv is to become the next national franchise business. So we can't access your estates. I mean, you look at your Blue Valley, you look at your Serengeti, you look at your other places like your Centurion or Waterfall. There are still barriers that stop black firms from coming in because they'll make you pay exorbitant fees to be able to sell in those areas. Okay. So it clearly shows that the entry market is still dominated by white businesses. Okay. But the attitude says you have to do this business with a long-term plan. I'm not in it for the short-term gain. I'm looking at it with the next 20 years, the next 10 years. So you need to have a 5-year plan that is a growth plan to make it a point that you enter the market. Okay. And then from there, you grow teams that will be able to get into different spaces. Like when we got in as a real estate business, just selling houses and letting off. But we soon realized that there's a property management space where your Trafalgar is playing, Broad is playing. Why not become the next Trafalgar? So we moved into the property management space. And before we know it, there was a house that was sitting in the market for 16 weeks. And then auctioneers were coming to poach your house because you are not selling that house quickly. And then I started realizing, no, man, let's actually venture into auctions because certain houses are sold quicker in a different strategy. So I think creativity is what is going to make us to break those barriers where predominantly white companies or certain companies don't want us to play. Yeah.
I think you touched on another point there. Auctions, right? And I want us to explore the topic from the viewer's perspective because I know you are in the business space, but I think you're going to give us a lot of value here. At what point does my house get auctioned?
Right. Auction is another way of selling. Yeah. It's just another way of selling. It doesn't mean because something is auctioned, a person is in the credit side. We always thought because something is auctioned, it's because there's a sheriff involved in it. Something is auctioned, it's because the bank is involved in it. Something is auctioned, it's because someone is owing something. It's another sale. It has been there in the historical places where land in Europe and in Africa and Britain used to auction it to the best seller or to the person who used to be able to afford. So the word auction is another activity within a sales environment. It's either it's a willing buyer where I say I'm willing to assign an offer to purchase and buy it from you. That's a normal sales transaction. Whereas with an auction, you as an auctioneer has to attract a list of capable buyers and bring them a product that they will show interest in it. And then you have to have investors. And all what you do is just to put the product and have the best and the guys will be willing to bid
Okay, for
that thing.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be creditors owned. You can decide now and say, I want to sell my car, but I don't want to sell it through a normal. Can I auction it?
Yeah.
And I'm the guy to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of situations where people's houses are getting sold.
Yes.
Without their knowledge.
Yes.
I've heard such cases reported before. What happens?
Okay.
What would have been the scenario in that space?
I think the communication part, we've now had a problem with the post office problems. But you don't arrive at the person's house to sell them when they've not tried to communicate with you.
Okay.
So what you're talking about is that one that you're talking about where the creditor, being the bank or any other person that is owned by, has tried several times to actually get their money back or maybe get their payments that you had arrangement. And they've tried in so many other ways. Remember, banks and other service providers are not in the business of selling cars. They're in the business of giving loans. So they give you a loan, entrusting you because you did a credit profile and you said you'll pay them. 6 months, 24 months in it, you are unable to pay for it. So what they do, they now need auctioneers to help them recoup the capital asset, because now you are no longer able to service the debt. You understand? But now there are steps taken through their banking system, through their credit system to reach out to you. So I think it's a debatable thing that a person didn't know. You know, because some people just ignore.
Some people then ignore
with the hope that the situation will change. And the creditor, listen, he's borrowed you. Where's the car? Where's the house? Where are my payments?
True.
And so I think with the auctioning, we're not out there. We just decided to exercise our intelligence in that space. But it's still a growing space.
So if I were to be a homeowner right now and I wanted to sell, what would be my best bet?
Right. If you are a homeowner, the best bet is obviously working through us from an agency's perspective. Guys, this house is worth 600,000 and I want it sold. So wait for 12 weeks. You already wait. It's about 3 months to sell the property. So it's easy. Just get an agent who understands your market, who has buyers within that environment. And then that agent will put it in the right platform, you understand it, to sell it and be open about it. You know, a house that is well marketed, it gets sold quicker. Have beautiful photos that will be taken showcasing your house. You're not selling yourself. And I think that's where people lose it. They are attached to these properties that no, you're no longer attached to that house. Just sell it, let it be marketed, whether it be on Facebook, Gumtree, Property 24, private property, it's fine. That is the way to go. And then if it delays, the reason why the property doesn't sell, it's because it's overpriced. If the price is good, a property doesn't stay long in the market. So it's always the trick to know that a highly priced property will struggle to sell. But also the location. There are also factors. But also now we're looking at the economic environment. So there are different factors. But if you've got a good price, you're likely to sell.
Then there's someone else who says, I've got a property. I don't want to sell. I want to, raise the value of this asset. Are you able to come in and assist in that respect?
Yes. So that's what we call valuation services, where we now tell you it's very important that you treat your property like yourself. Just like you take a bath, put perfume it and all. The house needs the same treatment. Every 2 years, paint your house. Every 2 years, every month, work on your garden space. Fix your plumbing errors, fix your electrical errors, make it a point that everything is working, and then improve the features, your bedrooms, building cupboards, tiling on the floor, gutters. There are things that you do on the property. So those things will cost you money as you live in, but believe me, when you start selling, they will improve your valuation. Because when you go in there, you say, wow, ceramic tiles, wow, nice mirrors. So people buy a well-kept property.
So there is a space where I can increase the value of my property while I'm still staying in it.
Definitely. So that is obviously in maintenance and repairs, making it the point that you don't leave things until now the walls are are cracked, the tiles are falling apart, then itself will make your property to be undervalued both by the bank and even the prospective buyer who comes in.
All right. Yes. As a property owner where I'm staying, maybe I'm considering building and extending. Maybe getting some rooms here, I don't know. Are you able to come in and say, I can offer you a service where we can give you a plan in terms of what you can do with your available land? Would you provide such a service?
The nice thing about our industry is that it's a team. There is nothing that you can do as a real estate agency without working with others. And the nice thing is that we work with Uber or maybe a bond originators. We work with architects, we work with attorneys, we work with builders, constructors, and all those things. So our service is that you look at something and then you can only work within your expertise. So we are the people that says, now you spoke about building rooms, which is the most important thing is that do you know that a lot of properties cannot be sold because they have unapproved plans?
True.
You understand? Yeah. And what was supposed to happen is that the person has built up high plans and they are not approved. The value has gone up, but the bank still recognizes the old value. You understand? So the first thing before you extend your house is to make it a point that you draw the plans, but you get it the point that you are rezoned. You understand? Because there's Res 1, there's Res 2, Res 3. All those residential zoning certificate means your house can either be a single-story house or can be a double-story rezoning. You understand? So those things, when you work through architects, they might cost you time. But in the nutshell, when you come to sell that house, you won't have a problem to sell it because you would have applied your zoning level certificate. So that service comes with a one-stop. So you must come to Cabrini.
I'm sold, guys. I'm sold. I feel like this is the man to speak to, right? If I've got any challenges about building, even construction, whatever it is, if it has to do with property, I've got my man today. I've saved his number. Everything is done now. I'm not going anywhere else.
Thank you.
I think now you've given us a lot to think about when coming to the property sort of space. But for someone who wants to get into the property business, what would you advise them?
Right. This is a very important question and I appreciate it. When I got into a real estate environment, obviously I was exposed as a kid, but I was not exposed in the activity of the business. And any person that needs to get into the business needs to understand that they need to work for a firm, a real estate firm that is very organized, very professional, that can teach them the truth. Real estate activity, you're a salesman. It's a commission environment. It's not a salary. It's not employment. Especially for that person who wants to build a secondary income or who wants to get in it to learn before they can earn. And a lot of people miss it because they want to earn before they can learn. You understand? And then they frustrate the very same company that's training them to be able to know, because it's not an overnight thing. I think before you can sell a property, you can take about 3 to 6 months without selling a property. So you have to learn certain behaviors. So let me tell you, there are qualities of a real estate agent. Number one is hard work. You need to outwork your old self. All right. Number two is teamwork. You need to be able to work with others because you are going to find people who are better than you. You know? Number three, it's risk taking. Because now you're going to learn how to knock on doors. You know, in apartments, in land areas, in funny areas. You know, you are going to sit in areas that are going to make you uncomfortable. Number four is failure. There you fail, my brother. There are deals that you've counted and say, oh, I've made this commission and I'm counting, I'm going to fix this house, and only for a deal to collapse. So things happen within the real estate agents where your commission doesn't come or something might disturb the transaction. So failure in terms of speaking to owners who would lie to you, speaking to sellers who would lie to you, and speaking to people who would disappoint you within the transaction. And I think my favorite one of all things is that you gotta be a profit driven. It's about money. You gotta be that salesperson. So that sales mentality, you gotta learn how to be a salesperson. Remember, we're not born salespeople. So you gotta build your knowledge. So that fifth one is you gotta have books that teach you how to sell because you're going to sell, you're going to get rejection,
Yeah.
you're going to get something. So there are qualities that one must be able to build first within themselves, but also build the patience, because also work for the company that is licensed.
Yeah.
Because if you are legit, you're going to make it.
Yeah.
But if you're not legit, the last one, give yourself 3 years before you are established. 3 years.
Those are some very deep lessons. I feel like you're a guy who's got a lot to teach, right?
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I want to talk about the journey.
Yes.
Tell me about your experience from an entrepreneurship perspective and how that has impacted you personally. The person that you are now versus the person that you were before you got into business. What's the difference between the two?
Sure. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely road. It's a very, very lonely road. Because first of all, you have all the freedom, but you must develop the discipline within, yourself. And I always say, before you begin, you have to be.
That's deep.
Build you.
Yeah.
So it's more about who you are before what you become. So the entrepreneurship has opened to me so many sad lessons. It's been tough. It's been exciting. It's been profitable. It's been promising. But you go through all the storms and the disasters and the setbacks of it.
Yeah.
But the journey is, once you choose and you find your purpose, something that you believe, it's important that you have a vision board.
Yeah.
Because remember, we walk by faith, not by sight.
Yeah.
You know how you start something with 1,000 rand.
Yeah.
When I started Caprivi Properties, I started it with 3,000 rand. Do you understand?
Imagine,
Because I had to resign from my former employers to actually get into this.
Okay.
But it was faith. What do you want to build out of this?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's a long-term view.
Yeah.
So if I can say one thing about being an entrepreneur is that you are going to be knocked down. You are going to be disappointed. You are going to be sad. But those are the things that you need to go through to be able to develop the character and the attitude that you need when you are going to lead people. Because that is the thing. An entrepreneur is not a person that does it all.
Yeah.
Like you've got a great team.
Yeah.
So once you are able to lead yourself better, you will attract the people who will support you.
Powerful. Powerful. I've got a deep question.
Yes.
How do you stay positive? In those, I call it school fees, by the way. Those lessons that you're talking about, for me, I call it school fees. And every time I'm having a tough day, I'll be telling my gents, hey guys, I'm paying school fees this week. Yeah, I'm paying strong. But now the big question is, how do you stay positive? What's your hack?
So we don't normally speak about this, but entrepreneurship is a gift from God. And it becomes very hard when you want to try to lead it on your own. That's why entrepreneurs are lawyer.
Yeah.
They've got higher power. Because at some point you understand that, no, this is too much within my shoulders.
Yeah.
There are those who also entrepreneurs, but highly spiritual. All right. So you gotta involve spirituality within your business.
Okay.
Because to recognize what is it that God wants you to learn from your work. So introduce prayer in your business, because now the wisdom that you have is also not you. It's an idea that came.
Yeah.
So you also don't know how to build it. But if it's your idea, I can try this podcast things and fail 10 times because it's not my idea.
Yeah.
So you can try this real estate and fail 20 times because it's not your idea. You can emulate it. But spirituality is very important in the business, where you gotta step back and understand that, God, I've tried my best. I'm praying for your wisdom. Lead me in this process so that I can be able to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And then patiently, you'll be able to do. So what I do is that I plan 20 things and I focus on 10.
Powerful.
Because that's where we lose it. We want to get it all at once. Focus on 5 a day. If you've done your best with the 5, believe me, tomorrow you'll grow. So it's organic. And passion before profits.
Yeah.
Profits will come, my brother. If you're good at what you do and you're giving people passion and you're giving them love and you're giving them the care and the follow-up, people will recognize you. But then the profits will start growing and opportunities will open. It's coming.
No, that's powerful.
Yeah,
that's
coming.
powerful.
Yes.
I think you've said so much, and my mind is just running. You're delivering a lot of gems for us to pick up on in terms of staying positive. I mean, for me, someone said to me, do not wish to be a prophet, because a prophet gets vision from God. And look at what happened to the prophets in the Bible. It's not nice to be. It's always fascinating when people call themselves that, and it always seems like it's a simple thing. But imagine this: you get a vision from God, and no one else will see it the way you see it, because it's meant for you. That's why you're saying you'll try this podcasting, it won't work, because we don't quite receive it the same, because it's a vision. And the mistake that many people do is like they try to convince other people before they execute. And it's a different thing. In business, once you receive the vision, go and execute. Don't be preaching to people about what you have just seen, because you just become boastful. So I think you touch on a very, profound discussion to say that also entrepreneurship is a lonely experience. Tell me about that lonely experience. I want to know, what makes you say entrepreneurship is a lonely experience? What?
I used to run a family business, a very popular space, a spot called Caprivi in Tembisa. It was a club, butchery, bottle store, pick. I worked with a lot of great talent. DJ Shimza, Skumba, your Black Coffee, Clio. We created the space for them. And in that business, there was so much money coming in and out. And towards the said time, you start seeing the business not growing, start making losses, and things not going your way. And I think that was the most saddest time, because now I knew so many people, but I never had the right people close to me. I never had mentors, because you become, when you're doing so well, you never get the right mentors. You are the person that you tell people, no one tells you. So the ego goes into you understand, you're the boss of 20 employees. Everybody are the final decision maker. But when it all collapsed, because things were changing, competition was coming up. I also made strategic decisions that never yielded any fruit. And at that time, I found myself in the loneliest space, from managing 880,000 a month to asking for 300 rand. From friends, calling, best friends, if they can assist you with something. And I think that hit me, because now you start understanding that people are not loyal to your cause. They are loyal to their benefit. And you lose employees, you lose friends, you lose that. But that is time that asks you, are you the real entrepreneur? Because everything is finished. Are you going to be able to rise up? And I think I've respected myself as an entrepreneur, because I sold veggies. I did COVID, I sold a mask. And then I did pest control services and cleaning services. We were spraying walls and all that stuff. But then I discovered that I had the fire in me. So it defines who you are. Are you going to stay down, or are you going to keep trying? And when you lose, that's the part that asks you, are you going to keep crying, or are you going to keep trying?
True. I think with what you're saying, sorry to cut you before you go, because I'm going to lose my chain of thought. When you say that people are there for their own benefit, it's such a hard lesson, right? For a lot of us, because I always tell the guys to say, no one likes you because you've got a great smile. No one is around you because they just feel like you're a great guy generally, and we just enjoy being around you. No, we are there for a reason. And the moment you learn that as a business person is the moment when you start doing real business. Because when you and I sit down, I'm asking you directly before we go anywhere, what's in this for me?
But one thing that also you as a business person must live to the reality, you are going to lose the best people. Because people are meant to move on as well, just like you moved on. And the thing is, build a business out of systems, not business out of people. That's why you need project lead. You've got great guys, I can see, but they also have to grow at some point. And when they grow, some of them will be your competitors, because they'll do certain things better than you did. And the sad reality is that don't be too attached to people that you lose your business. Be attached to the improvement of your systems of your business, that when they leave, you just find somebody that replaces.
Exactly.
And I think that is one thing that one in this journey is trying to build systems that you can attract talent to manage them and put them there. And when they leave, get another person to put it there.
Okay.
Still a journey, but I think you have to invest. It's an expensive way of doing it, but it is a better system because people will ultimately leave you.
Yeah.
And I think you've closed it nicely.
Yeah. And I think you're spot on with the development and the building of systems because that's what carries the business.
Yes.
And also just maintaining and managing the energy in the space because you find that you do have great systems and processes in place, but the certain attitudes or energies that come in to sort of disrupt the normal process. So anyone who's in a management position understands that their presence there is to also regulate the energy and make sure that everyone is in a good space to be able to do what they need to do. You know what? This is a very fruitful experience.
Yeah, but listen, more than any other thing, also one person said it and close it. Don't take it personal.
Powerful.
It will kill you.
Powerful.
Business will kill you real death.
But you know, the unfortunate thing about business is that no one teaches you these things.
No.
You know?
So my dad was my mentor. He
Okay.
taught me how to chase, how to grow, how to invest in systems, how to work with people. But he never taught me about failure.
Okay.
So I think also school, is that certain things they will have to go in. It's like the same thing. School did well to teach us how to speak good English, how to read and how to analyze. But did they teach us good accounting?
No.
You understand what I mean? Now the new education is financial management. Just when we think financial management is the way to go, managing your financial, now there's AI. Do you understand? So you will actually discover yourself with your group. But don't be so hard on yourself in your setbacks that when things go wrong and then you become so personal and it's all about you. No. Detach yourself. The business is the business.
Yeah.
You are the CEO. You influence the decision, but also you cannot improve it beyond your level of knowledge.
Hey, my man, you're so self-aware. Do you have a therapist somewhere?
No. I've worked on that.
Is it?
I have worked on that because I've been knocked down.
Okay.
And I enjoy my self space.
Okay.
So I try so much to detach from the noise.
Okay.
And say, okay, what can we do next?
Yeah.
What is it that we can pursue?
Yeah.
But what makes it easier is that I love that 300 rand guy.
Okay.
I'm no longer afraid.
Okay.
Because if I started having 300, I'll tell him, and I didn't have 300 in my account, I don't think I would, because it killed that fear.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah,
it
you
killed
have to
that
go
fear.
there.
So you land at the point whereby you are so desperate that you become humbled.
Okay.
And then, but now you are building easier, and you're no longer afraid to say, Joe, if I could have survived. Ka tripa ke phone ke re Tshepo ompo kwena zame ka tripa ke na tšhelete petrol. Clearly I can't, but the trick, and I think this works, and we don't speak about it, is that build your relationship with God, my brother.
Okay.
Work on a relationship with God. He brought you here for a purpose. Once you find him, he will navigate you.
He will navigate you. No, that's deep. That's powerful. I like the manner in which you rationalize this, because a lot of us lose a lot. You know, you find that someone is in business. When the business fails, they don't just lose the business, but they lose themselves and everything else that they have. And how you've just put it now to say that don't take it personally. That wall that you're building there is very important to protect your children, your wife, your family, everyone who depends on you. Because when that hill starts falling, it's a very, very painful experience to see yourself going from 800K down to 300. That no one can prepare you for that. And to have that wall to say, don't take it personal, you must have been,
it goes back to that thing.
Somewhere.
Qualities of an entrepreneur, dealing with failure. Because it's inevitable. It's part of our progress. When we go through it, it's the most painful of it. But when I say deal with failure, I'm not saying deny it. You understand? It means it's coming. Things are falling apart. You're becoming there. But at that point, recognize that it's a process that's happening. I mean, my man, we miss rental payments.
Yeah.
We skip certain fees. We sometimes fail to pay employees on time. We plan certain things and find out that we don't have the budget to be able to cover it. We don't have money to cover marketing expenses. So we are in a battle of trying to become better. But certain things just don't sit well on the table.
Yeah.
But the patience that you need to have with yourself is to say, I want it, but it's not happening now.
Yeah.
But I've looked at myself. Could I have done it? Could I have done anything? No, I couldn't.
Yeah.
So let me deal with the fact that I can't, but I would desire to do it again.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that says deal with it. To close it, look at what is happening now with the American market. USA is hitting us with tariffs. What did the president say? Guys, look for alternative markets.
Yeah.
What does it say about your business?
Yeah.
Look for alternative market. So maybe you should be doing ads for us.
Yes, exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
Maybe it cost you 7,000.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us an ad for 2 minutes that we can pay 2.5? And you do 10 ads, that's 25,000.
That's quite powerful because that says to me that we must build our own platforms. We must have our own version of YouTube that serves us locally, that also promotes local businesses and does not prioritize international markets as well. So I think that's a deep discussion in terms of navigating the business space. But in the very few minutes that we have spoken, I have learned a lot. You know what? I don't want this man to finish talking. I want him to tell us everything, but because of time, we have to let him go. I'm sure that you guys have got a lot of questions that you'd like to ask him. I'm sure I personally missed a thing or two. If you've got a question for him and you want him to address it, just drop us a comment in the comment section. We'll have him back here to address the questions that you guys have. If you're having challenges with your properties where you are sitting, we have just given you a powerful plug directly to him. He's going to give us his contact number, or we're going to put his contact details for the business as a banner on the bottom so that you guys can be able to, reach him when you need to. But yeah, man, thank you so much for making time. This has been a very, very, very insightful experience for me. It's a memorable one. I have never had such a deep discussion just as the one that I've had here in a while. I mean, I'm always at a point where, as an entrepreneur, I resonate with the lonely aspect because no one can understand the things that I say. Yeah, not literally that no one can understand that, but they don't resonate. So I end up just, rationalizing my issues and just saying, you know what, this is how I'm going to navigate.
No, the lonely space is a growing space.
Yeah.
And it will unlock your fears. It will unlock you'll discover. Remember, once you're lonely, you will discover what is it that you fear. You will be able to listen to your inner voice.
Yeah.
What's important, what's not important, what should you rush in? And you will scale yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
So every time you become lonely, use it as an opportunity to say, okay, what is my deepest fear right now?
Actually, to be honest, I think in closing, I have actually found comfort in solitude.
Yes.
And I found a great confidence in believing in the small ideas that I've got, because it's some of the smallest concepts that I've ever had made the biggest impact. But guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Murado. This is The Threshold, the space in between who you are, who you're becoming, and who you want to be. If you want to grow, if you want to pioneer, become a better person, navigate the challenges, this is the space. Thank you so much, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.